There it is.
Welcome everyone to Geek Vice, episode number 47. Our normal host, Logtar, is out with technical difficulties. Apparently, you need power in order to run a computer. I don't really get it, but whatever. He says he can't be here. So you're stuck with me, and I'm Morph, your bartender for the zombie apocalypse. And our co-host for the night is Kip, a man boldly going from the couch to the kitchen and back again.
That's right. So I see
What's
you're drinking a beer. What do you got?
I am drinking, it's Odell Brewing Company, and it is called Loose Leaf. And it is an American session beer, or session ale, excuse me. Um, and it's really good. It's kind of hoppy, but not quite as hoppy as an IPA, or an Pale Ale. I'm already slurring my words.
Man. So I see it said seasonal ale. Is it a summer or a fall?
No, this is a session ale.
Oh, session. I can't read.
Apparently, well, I always thought it said season ale too until I was looking at it today before we started this thing going, oh, that doesn't say season ale. It says session. And I read, and apparently a session ale is a type of ale. But I did not know that, so I'm going to have to do a little research on a session ale and see what that's all about, because I like this one, and I'm going to have to see if I can't find some more.
Oh, now you've got homework to do.
Mm-hmm. Just what I need, homework. So, without Logtar here, we'll just move right into Roundtable. How about that?
That works for me.
So, Kip, you apparently have a tough dilemma in front of you.
Yeah, and it seems to be getting less tough by the day. But the dilemma is, do I pull the trigger and get Destiny for my Xbox 360, or do I just wait and get the next Call of Duty?
And the next Call of Duty, is that the Advanced Warfare one?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's got Kevin Spacey in it, so.
Well, it's going to be good then.
Well, absolutely, But I've been playing Call of Duty for, 4 or 5 years now.
Forever.
Well, I didn't get into it until, was it Modern Warfare? I think it was Modern Warfare was the first time I jumped into the Call of Duty franchise, and I'm pretty much addicted to the online gameplay. But the Destiny kind of promised the online gameplay inside of like a MMO. So it's like Halo meets World of Warcraft is my guess. And so I thought, you know what, that could be right in my wheelhouse. That would be awesome. But every time I read a review or anything on it, I'm getting less and less intrigued.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there's played the game, let me know what you think of it. But everything I've read, makes it sound like, it's a nice game. It's visually appealing. The MMO part of it's, is pretty cool. But I'm a big first-person shooter, PvP kind of a guy, and it made it sound like that part of Destiny is pretty weak. The whole leveling up your character and everything. You could jump into a room with somebody who's got a maxed out character and you're a lowly newbie and you don't stand a chance.
Yeah, that's not good.
And with my playing ability, I could be a maxed out character and still not stand a chance. So I need every opportunity I can for a level playing field.
It's funny that we had a nice little visitor walk behind you too. She was trying really hard not to look at the screen.
I know, and she was. Is there something in the backyard? I guess we're being buzzed by some major airplanes.
There's
Since
a
we're not in the
president coming
flight,
to town?
yeah, since we're not in the flight path of anything, it is kind of unusual. And
Yeah.
last night we were laying in bed. I think it was last night, and this helicopter flew really low. I thought it was landing in my backyard for a while there. So I don't know if we're under surveillance or what, but
It's from all these podcasts. They got people checking up on you.
I guess so. It's all those disparaging words I say on here.
Well, it's kind of funny because we get every once in a while we get planes that fly over our house, planes, helicopters, because we're not too far from a military base. It's not a active and or I guess highly active. It's still technically active, but it's got runways and helicopter pads and all that stuff. So it does get some traffic. Plus, there's some local air shows there. Like there was one over the weekend. So we had some nice loud planes flying over, but we could sit out on our front porch and watch an air show. So that's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
And really,
we're not
it's
supposed to be able to, but all of a sudden here lately, we're being buzzed. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe it's because we've got Google Fiber and,
now everybody wants to come to your house. Is that what it is?
They want to see if we're a high Wi-Fi hotspot or something.
Do you have a homeless guy sitting out front?
Well, he's always been there, so that's nothing new.
Well, that's what they see him and they think he's a Wi-Fi hotspot. I think that's a callback to one of our previous episodes. I believe we talked about that on here. Anyway, back to your Destiny Call of Duty problem. Well, you're such a big fan of these first-person shooters. I think it kind of leads right into one of my topics that I've got this week, and that's the game Dishonored that I'm still playing. Picked it up for free on the Games with Gold deals on the Xbox Live. And I really like the game. I like the concept of the game. I feel like I'm kind of playing a Fable-type game. But the first-person perspective works really well for me up to the point where I get into hand-to-hand combat with somebody. Or not necessarily one person, but when there's multiple people that I'm getting in combat. Because, the AI is not stupid. They try to flank you and put you in a bad spot. And with it being first person, I can't see what the person behind me is doing, and it's really hard to fight that way. And maybe it would be different if I had a gun. Well, I guess I do have a gun, but I'm a sneaky guy. I don't use my gun. I use a sword, and I stab people. So that doesn't work out real well when you get 3 and 4 guys surrounding you, kicking the crap out of you. And,
sounds bad.
Yeah, this last time that I played, I'm pretty sure the only reason I didn't die was because I have the difficulty set on easy because I am such a bad first-person perspective game player that I turned it down to easy, and I'm pretty sure that's the only reason I'm still alive in that game. So, yeah, the game is a lot of fun though. I like the concept of it. I like the steampunk setting that they have it in. It's kind of a dystopian future type thing, but you still have magic and swords and crossbows and little like flintlock pistol stuff, kind of like Fable. Fable was kind of although that one seemed a little less modern. But this you've got lots of gears and all kinds of stuff out there, big gates and big cities that are built up like industrial powerhouses, but still kind of has that medieval feel to it. I really like it.
Yeah, I also purchased it off of Games with Gold, or got it for free off of Games with Gold, and the first-person perspective doesn't bother me as much as it does you. I think it's because of the billions of hours I've logged playing Call of Duty. But the one thing I did, experience, and I don't know if you did this as well. I got motion sick after a while, and I had to turn the game off. And I hardly ever get motion sick from a game, but this one did it to me. And I don't know if it's because of being new to the game and you're checking everything out and your eyes are trying to catch every little detail. That's probably what it is, but I had to turn it off and I haven't gone back. But I'm sure I will eventually get back to it.
Yeah, I didn't have any motion sickness stuff, which is a little surprising because the couple of first-person shooter games that I do have and have played some of, there are times, especially if I get into a combat where I'm trying to look around and find stuff, I tend to whip my camera around way too fast. But maybe
So
I've
that's
gotten.
what you call it?
There's a euphemism for you, whipping that camera around. Yeah, but that's what usually gets me is just like trying to flip around and look behind you real quick, and you do that with the screen, and the graphics are so good, it's like you're actually spinning in circles, and that'll usually get me. But so far with Dishonored, I haven't felt that yet. But I'm treating this less as I'm going about it less as an action game and more as a stealth game. So I'm very slow and monotonous and taking my time getting through. I check everything a couple times before I go through a door or around a corner, and I look for multiple different things. So I'm going so slow that's probably why it hasn't hit me yet.
Yeah, I think that's probably it because I'm not a very patient gamer, so when I'm playing, it's like, oh, I got to get from start to finish as fast as I can. So that's probably most of my problem right there. But I'm going to blame the game instead of my ability to play the game.
Instead of your shortcomings, you're going to blame somebody else. God, that sounds like a male.
And an American male at that. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
never my fault. It's not my fault.
Well, we covered a couple video games here, so let's go into a movie. Let's talk about a movie that just came out on Tuesday on DVD. We got to put that in there because I'm months behind when this thing actually came out. But this weekend I actually watched Captain America 2: The Winter Soldier for the first time. And I'm going to have to say that I agree with what everyone else has said previously. Definitely one of the best Marvel movies to come out. I like some of the nods and some of the ways they brought in some of the characters. I really like the way they brought in the Falcon. I like that character. I'm really excited to see more of him. I hope they keep him in there, and I hope they give him even, bigger and bigger roles. Like, I really hope Iron Man had a chance when they had War Machine, and I can't remember who the guy in the first Iron Man that played that. And then it ended up being Don Cheadle in the second, third movie.
Yeah.
But that character there, that was a good chance for them. Marvel could have embraced that and maybe done a standalone War Machine movie or given him more of a role. And I'm still kind of hopeful that they will, because I think that would be great to have that character be a bigger role. I like that character. And the same thing, I felt exactly the same way, maybe even a little stronger, to the Falcon character. I really like the way they built him up. I would love to see maybe a backstory movie, just a spin-off. Like, they don't even have to, they can keep it tied to the Marvel Cinematic Universe just in the sense that it's Falcon and you've already seen what he is now, but maybe do like a period piece stuff, back, like, have him go in and how his first trip with his wings, or even just they made mention of it in the movie, and I don't remember the place. I want to say it was Bosnia, that they brought up that he, Black Widow almost looked at it and goes, "Oh, that was you type thing, like she had heard of it but never knew who it was that made this miraculous rescue mission. And so I think it would be kind of cool to see something like that, and out of as a spinoff to this Captain America movie.
Yeah, I agree with you that Anthony Mackie as the Falcon was fantastic. He did a great job. It was Terrence Howard, the guy
That's
you were
right,
for earlier.
Terrence Howard.
But yeah, and that's the thing about these Marvel movies, especially the Avengers and now Captain America 2, is there's some characters I would really love to see a movie that deals with their backstory.
Yeah.
Like you said with the Falcon, with when they were really using those wings in combat. I would love to see that along with a story of Black Widow and Hawkeye before they became Avengers. I'd like to see that as well. So get on it, Hollywood. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah. And I'm kind of hopeful because they're not going to be able to keep, there's rumors of Iron Man 4, but I'm worried that Iron Man 4 is just going to be beating a dead horse type thing. They need to keep stuff fresh, so they're going to need to look for some new characters to do. And I definitely think Black Widow and Hawkeye are definitely good opportunities to do some stuff. They could, even if they really wanted to, they could turn Hawkeye and do it as like a TV show, and they could base it off the comic book that's out right now called Hawkeye. And it's the, gosh, I wish I could remember the tagline for that, but it's basically like, hey, Hawkeye as an Avenger, the Avenger with the bow and arrow, but here's what he does when he's not an Avenger type thing. And he's getting into all kinds of trouble, getting into all kind of bad situations, but trying to do the right thing, and just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it's a hilarious comic book. It's a lot of fun. So that would be a great way. They could turn that into a TV show easily. Or maybe it'll be the next thing on Netflix.
Never know.
If Daredevil and these other ones, Jessica Jones and Power Man, if these things end up being good, then on Netflix, maybe we'll get to see something like that on there. So, I don't know.
All I know is if they don't have Jeremy Renner play Hawkeye, my wife is going to go into full-on revolt, and nobody will be safe in Hollywood.
And I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing with Marvel movies, but I go through watching them and I just keep looking at them going, oh man, I'd love to hear more about this, or I want to know more, like I want to see more story about this guy, or all these spin-offs that they could have. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I sure as hell enjoy it, man. I'd watch that Captain America movie just going, oh, I know this guy, and oh, that's who this guy is, and oh, I like this, and oh, this could be kind of cool. We should do some more about this. Like Armin Zola, I want some more Zola. Let's see some more bad guy. I thought it was a really good movie. I thought it was really well done, and I'm curious to see if there is a Captain America 3.
I guess to answer that question, and I'm trying to find the article, Marvel has announced the release date of their next movies, and I'm pretty sure Captain America 3 was on
there. Yeah, it could be on there, but what are they going to do with it? Chris Evans says he doesn't want to do any more, that he doesn't want to be an actor anymore. He wants to be a director or producer or something else. He doesn't want to act anymore. So there goes your Captain America. So what are they going to do if they do a Captain America 3? And I just said doo-doo. I hate
You did say doo-doo. It was hilarious.
What's going to happen in a Captain America 3? Who are they going to have play Captain America if they can't convince Chris Evans not to quit acting?
It's a good question, and we were talking about this earlier. Do they go ahead and go with a African American Captain America, and do they promote up Anthony Mackie? Do they go with somebody that's already been given the super soldier serum and make the Winter Soldier turn into Captain America? I mean, there are choices if we don't have Chris Evans.
Yeah. And they could even do the whole Doctor Who thing and just cast somebody all new for Captain America. And
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't be against it. I really like Chris Evans as Captain America. I thought he's done an incredible job as him.
Oh yeah, I can't picture anybody else. I can't imagine anybody else doing it. But
yeah, but I mean, I would have never picked the guy out of a lineup before doing this. So
exactly.
Somebody had to have looked at it and said, "Yeah, this would be great."
Yeah,
so,
that guy.
I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, see, they have Captain America 3 for the second quarter of 2016.
Yeah, see, and that's a long ways away. I guess it's not that far away. What about it? I guess about a year and a quarter.
Longer away than I want to think about.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of movies to get through between now and then.
Yeah, somebody still needs to see Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about. Who is that? You got a mouse in your pocket?
I do not. And if I did, he would have seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3 times now.
Nice. All right, so we've gone through some roundtable stuff. I think it's time to move on to the main topic.
Dun, dun, dun.
And we'll get back into, we'll leave the movies for a little while and let's get into some video game stuff. I guess get back into the video games. And there was an article put out by the New York Post, and it kind of stemmed from some conversations that were had during PAX Prime, as they call it now, up in Seattle. And they had talked to some game designers, and they had made the comment. These game designers had made the comment that the game medium, is going to a more. They're telling more mature stories. They're leaving the quote unquote kiddie stuff aside and tackling some pretty tough issues and talking about some different, just more mature storylines in this video game medium. What do you think about that there, Kip?
What's funny is I never think of it that way. I guess it's because I'm so dang old. But, video games, I'm of the generation that got to play all the video games from the beginning. When consoles first made it into people's living rooms, that was my generation. And console is a term I use loosely because nobody's really going to consider Pong a console.
But it was.
But it was. And so I grew up with that, and of course all the titles back then were perfectly suited for my age. When the Atari 2600 came out, there was Space Invaders and Combat and all that, but it was just basically 8-bit blocky figures that were nothing graphic or nothing mature about it whatsoever. And now I've grown into playing Call of Duty and Diablo 3 and things like that now, and I forget that these are more mature themes than what I would have been exposed to at 14 and 15. So are these games that I'm playing now would I have been allowed to play them as a kid? And probably so, because it wasn't like some of these aren't what you would are more than what you'd be seeing on TV or in a movie.
Yeah.
So with that aspect, I still think, yeah, the themes are a little bit more mature, but I think maybe the kids are as well. And they're going to see much worse just watching crime dramas on TV or just watching Captain America 2. Some of them go further than that, more blood and gore and things like that. I did play the first God of War came out. There was actually a pseudo sex scene in that. Basically it was just shadows, and you had to hit a combination of buttons to please the woman, which was hilarious. But
I think I remember that one.
Yeah. Damn it, I can't remember that button combination either. It's really ruined my life. But
it's never worked since then.
It hasn't. But I think games are becoming more mature in content, and I think it's mostly because the gamers are more mature. We're both over 21, slightly. And, we're major consumers of these games. So neither one of us are going to be very content playing Disney characters or Mickey Mouse or anything like that. We kind of like something that's more storytelling, movie based, and we have no problems with, the violence in some of these games. As long as it's not over the top, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I don't really want to, in Call of Duty, shoot somebody and have their head explode right there on the screen. I'm glad it saves me of that, but it doesn't save me from the violence of actually pulling the trigger and shooting the guy. But, I'm good with it, but then again, I'm not a parent who's letting their 8-year-old play these games either. So you being a parent of young kids, what do you think?
Well, when this article was sent to us, and I kind of read through it, and I've had this conversation with a friend of mine, one of my real close friends that follows this gaming industry pretty closely, a lot more closely than I do, which is a little scary. But he had brought up the fact, and he had made some comment about this was back before the first Batman Arkham Asylum game came out, and he had made the comment that game was rated mature, and I'm like, oh no, it's like if it was rated mature, that's a 17 older rating. That means that they're not, like, kids aren't going to be playing that game, and that game can't be marketed to just adults. There's not enough adult gamers out there. And this is quite a while ago. And I'm like, I got to thinking, I'm like, I don't have any games that are really mature rating. I didn't think I had any games that were that bad. I've actually I went through before we started recording here. I don't have a lot of Xbox 360 games. I got, let's see, 15, 20 games. There are only 4 that I have that are not rated mature. One of them is the game Lego Marvel Superheroes.
I have that as well.
There's 5 of them. There's the game that you gave me to play with my kids, You're in the Movies.
Yeah, and that probably depends on what you film, on what the rating is.
Yeah, exactly. So that one might not actually have a rating. And then I have 3 FIFA games, which are rated E for everyone. Every other game that I have is rated mature. Even all the Fable games, Tomb Raider, all the Assassin's Creed games, um, all my Batman games, like all of them are all rated mature. And I was, it got me thinking, like, after reading this article, they talk about the storytelling being more mature and covering more mature topics. And I got to thinking, it's like, it, I can see that because the topics, the storytelling in the Assassin's Creed, in all those games is a very complex story. It's not the Super Mario Brothers story where it's just, hey, you're just trying to get to the princess in the castle. Oh, she's not in this castle. Gotta go to the next one. You know, there really wasn't a story to that. There was kind of one, but just you pretty much ignored it as you went through. But now these games are so story driven that they almost people look for those stories more. Some of the best parts of playing the parts that I've enjoyed the most in playing games recently is getting in there and playing through a mission or an objective and getting done and going, "Oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. I need to play the next mission so I can find out what happens next." It's that equivalent of, "Oh, I just need to read one more chapter," or
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I just want to just one more time, And so I think it is. I think that's part of the reason why the stories are becoming more mature is because they're becoming more complex. That's no longer this idea of you just need to go from point A to point B and there's really no reason why you're doing it. Just do it. Now it's, well, they got to give you a pretty good reason on why you need to be doing this. And if they don't give you a good enough reason, then you don't do it and you end up putting that game aside and picking up something else.
Yeah, but do you think that has to be a mature theme to get to that point?
I think when you get to the complexity of it, it ends up being more mature.
Okay.
Partly because you start getting games like Beyond Two Souls, where you start dealing with this, these people in that game. There's I want to call it a ghost that's attached to the main character who you're playing as, and this ghost can do things, can manipulate the environment and change the way situations are handled. And it at times, that's kind of creepy. That game was kind of a different step. There was also, look at games like The Last of Us or The Walking Dead, game by Telltale, or even The Wolf Among Us. Those storylines. There is no way. I have not played The Last of Us and I have not played The Walking Dead, but I have played The Wolf Among Us, and there is no way, I'm letting my kids play that game until they are, they're going to be quite a bit older. It's graphically more mature, but even if you take out the graphics and get rid of all the blood and gore to it, the corrupt shadow government type thing, just the way that they tell the story and the choices that they make you do, they kind of put you in that position of no answer is the right answer. It's just what's the lesser of two evils, and I don't know. I don't know that I would want my kids to have to deal with that until I know they can handle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But then you get into some other games. There's some that they mention in this article. One of them being a game that I really want to get, and I haven't done it yet because I actually, I am just recently to the Android market, or the Android operating systems from my phone. But the game is called Republique, and it's a stealth game, mobile platforms, but it kind of goes with this idea of the story is that the government has taken over and basically outlawed individuality. So you have to conform to the group, and you're part of a shadow or a secret organization that's fighting against that. And you've been captured and are uh, trying to get out. And that's I think that's kind of cool, but that's definitely not going to be a game for kids. That's I'm not putting my 5-year-old in that game for sure. Um, what are some of the others they have in here that they mention? There were a couple of quotes in here that I really liked. Well, they do ask a question of, do you think there's going to be any resistance, or do you think there's anybody fighting against the mature storytelling in these games?
Well, there's always the group of people that, like, that created the reason for having these ratings on the games in the first place. And, they're trying to look out for the children and things like that. They don't want them playing games that are way more mature than their ages. I'm sure you don't want your 5-year-old playing God of War and having that one scene where they've got to push the woman's buttons. And so there's people out there that are watching out for those kinds of things, which is a good thing. So yes, I do believe there are groups of people that are fighting the mature themes. That being said, I don't think they need to be outlawed or anything like that. You just have to be aware of what you're buying for your children, and the ratings are a good way to flesh that out. No pun intended.
Yeah, I agree to that. They make the comment in this article. It's a quote by a guy named Quaz Fulton, who apparently has worked on games like Crimson Dragon and Marlowe Briggs and the Mask of Death. I have heard of Crimson Dragon, never played it. Marlowe Briggs, never heard of that one. So I don't really know what this guy's is, but his quote is he says that I think the resistance to mature storytelling in games is coming from a place of concern. It doesn't mean mature games preclude juvenile games. Fart jokes are never going away. We will always love them, so just because we enjoy those doesn't mean we can't also appreciate a heartfelt, insightful, and poignant experience that has no fart jokes. I like that quote because I'm pretty sure I don't think I've ever played a game where it had a fart joke in it.
So you haven't played any Leisure Suit Larry, is what you're telling me.
Well, not recently. I mean, I played those when I was probably way too young to be playing those.
Well, yeah, it's a cartoon. What could go wrong?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think some of this also goes to I had looked up the average age of a gamer according to a bunch of different sites out there. They all kind of have their own little criteria, but it looks like within that it's somewhere between the age of 30 and 37. So that's quite a bit older than what it was, say when the first, let's even just go with the Atari or the NES came out. That's way older than what those consoles were aimed for. So
Yeah, I remember when the Atari came out, and it was a kid's game, but I remember the adults playing it a lot.
yeah,
But when the NES came out, it was totally a kid's game. It was aimed at and consumed by children,
right.
teenagers and younger. And so I think the coolness of the parents playing the Atari 2600 with me, I think, is what got me hooked into the whole video gaming thing. But then when the NES came out, it was like, all right, I've got my own thing now. Mom and Dad don't even want to play it. This is awesome. So, I think because of those kind of experiences, I think that's why people in my generation still play games. So I'm not surprised that the age is skewed upward because we're not getting any younger.
Yeah. Well, and I think it just keeps adding too. And I think, you get, eventually from the articles or from the little things that I'd found just doing a quick search on the average age, it was at 37 a couple years ago, and it could be as low as 30 now, which is why I say the average age is somewhere between 30 and 37. So, I mean, the age is going to come back down just because, you know, we are getting older, and there's a whole lot more kids now that are playing it. Um, but I think some of that is, kind of the same way movies, some of your topics and some of the way your movies are told, and some of your TV shows, the way they're told, is becoming more mature. I mean, for God's sakes, some of the stuff I remember watching with my parents on TV, you just looked at it and go, really? That that's just that's just retarded. It doesn't even, it's just goofiness. And they still have those TV shows out there, but I think the TV shows like, Law and Order and Criminal Minds, and some of these ones that really take and push the buttons of the mature storytelling have become such big hits. I mean, that I think video games fall right along that same line. If those things in TVs and movies are becoming more popular, then of course video games are going to follow suit, because those are the same people. We're not gamers are no longer a separate entity to the other entertainment mediums. Gamers are,
True.
you know, I could see them making the argument before, back in the day, back in the Atari, NES, maybe even Sega Genesis days, that, the people playing video games aren't the same ones as watching TV, and they don't have the disposable income to go see a movie. But now, that's not the case. I mean, the people who video games have just become another avenue in entertainment, in an entertainment medium, and they're all kind of lumped together into this. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Damn it! But you did point something out that I did want to touch on, and you were talking about, television shows and movies have grabbed on to more mature themes, and so I was thinking, shows when I was a kid, were they not as mature? And I think of it as it was more kind of a campy version of being mature.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
like
like,
the Star Trek. I mean, Star Trek always had. I mean, it handled some good socio-economic and socio-political like commentaries in those episodes, but if you didn't actually know what you were watching, you wouldn't pick up on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, there were shows like Fantasy Island and Love Boat, which, if they were on today, the things that would happen on those shows would be a lot different than what they are now.
Yeah.
You know, what they were then, I mean. And, one of my favorite shows as a kid was a TV show called BJ and the Bear about a truck driver. One of the characters, whose name was Jugs, for good reason. But that's the kind of stuff that was just a little more subtle, I guess is the word for it, even though
Right.
a woman with great big boobs named Jugs isn't very subtle. But I think she would be a lot more dress risque now.
Right.
And maybe since it was 70s camp, that was about as sexual as it got. I think today there would be more of the sex scene aspect to it.
Yeah.
And I think because it's on TV, because we are just kind of raised on TV, the maturity level of what kids can see has gone up from when I was that age, whatever age that may be. And like you said, since we are the consumers of these games, the games are going to follow suit.
Yeah. Oh, you see what happens when Logtar's not here to just argue with us? We just end up agreeing with each
I
other.
know, yeah. Let's just all agree and have a big hug and
Yeah, happy-go-lucky time.
yay us.
So I did go and look up today. I looked up the top 10 best-selling video games for 2014. This is I put in the show notes so far. I don't know the date at which this was done, but you can tell by some of these titles it has to be fairly recent.
You're right.
And in the top 10, I guess we'll go ahead and throw these out since no one else is going to see this list. But this list is from CNBC.com, and it's just pulled from sales records, amount of copies sold, or millions of dollars sold. Number 10 is Lego Marvel Superheroes. That is rated E10 plus, so 10 years and older. Number 9 is Infamous Second Son, mature. 8 is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, mature. 7, GTA 5, mature.
What?
6,
GTA 5 was mature?
I know.
No way.
Go figure. Here's the one that actually surprised me at number 6 is Minecraft, and I did not realize that had an E10 plus rating.
I think it's because you can kill things.
I think so. That's the mild violence.
Yeah.
Number 5 is Battlefield, mature. Number 4 is another Lego movie, the Lego Movie video game. That is E10 plus. Again, that mild violence. Number 3 is the only E for everybody game, and that's NBA 2K14. Why the hell that is that high, I have no idea.
And that's probably the only thing about the NBA that could be rated E for everyone.
Exactly. And you know what? The only reason it's rated E for everyone is because they don't have any owners or general managers in the game itself. It's just the players.
That's right. You won't get any racial memos sent to your inbox.
And number 2 is Call of Duty Ghosts, of course, M for mature. And number 1 is Titanfall, which is why I think this list is actually fairly recent, because Titanfall's not that old. And that's
There's the Lego Movie video game.
That's true. That's true. So and Titanfall's mature. So out of the top 10 so far in 2014, we have 6 that are mature. 3 of them are E10 plus for mild violence, and 1 of them is for everybody. Yeah. So, I mean, that does kind of go to show that, that a lot of the games now do kind of embrace the violence, at least some sense of violence. You know, even if it's just the breaking Lego guys into pieces. Um, but it's enough. It's enough for the rating system to say, wait a second here, not just anybody can play this game. And I know that the article was more about the storytelling, but this these games are being judged on their storytelling just as much as they are on what you're doing in the games. So, um,
Which is funny because if anybody ever in these rating things got online and played Call of Duty, um, in the online aspect, they would raise that rating to, if there's an NC-17 version of video gaming, they would raise it to that.
there is an adult-only rating.
Yeah, they could easily slap that label on there for the online play, and that's because of the people on the other side of the microphone.
Yeah.
And these ratings are put on there for a reason. And Call of Duty Ghosts is rated M. And I know these parents are just buying these games for these kids without even taking the rating into consideration, because I'll be playing a game and there's a kid on there, his voice hasn't changed, nothing. You can tell he's very young. And he is saying some of the most racial remarks. I mean, just throwing the N-word out. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I would never do this. And if your parents are in the room, then I'm really sad.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. It's just kind of that thing. I personally don't get it. And I've got Xbox 360 games, and I've got Wii games, and I have two shelves in my house where the Xbox is. I have a shelf that's my shelf. They're only games that I'm allowed to play, or that I have to be there if someone else is going to be playing them.
Only the games your wife will let you play.
Yeah, yeah. And then I have a shelf that has the video games that if I tell Reese, or Reese has some friends over and they want to play on the Xbox, he has a shelf that's low enough for him to be able to reach that he can pull from. And I'll tell you right now, I've got one Call of Duty game. Well, as I said before, I've only got four games that aren't rated mature, and none of those mature rated games are sitting down where he can grab them. He basically has one game that he plays, and that's on the 360. Other than some downloaded stuff that I've got for him, and that's Lego Marvel Superheroes. And he's got Minecraft, which E10 plus. He's not near 10 yet, but I'm sorry, that's I don't see that, but whatever. I I don't see the 10 plus rating really needing to be there. That mild violence, I think, is really more just hey, you have spiders and you destroy spiders, and you have some zombies, and you have these creepers, but nothing actually looks like a person by any means. It's all blocky 8-bit stuff, so I don't get how that could. I don't know. Until we see people start digging in the ground to try to mine out stuff, I'm not real worried about that game corrupting our youth.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still think all of it, whether it's the mature storytelling or whether it's the mature content, however it is, I think it still comes down to, parents need to be parents and pay attention to what their kids are doing, and the world will be a better place.
Maybe. But yeah, we'll have to see how the games go. I mean, it seems like every game that I've seen advertised for the new generation stuff is mature content stuff, violence or gore or just a scary story. So we'll see what happens from here.
Yeah, I'm I'm all in. I got no problems with it. Bring it on. Let's see what we got.
Yeah.
And I hope that they're right in that, I like the mature storytelling. I like the way that some of these stories, some of these games are telling stories, but I hope they also don't forget about, the the ability to tell that goofy, cheesy, we can make this E for everyone because, all you're trying to do is save the princess in the castle, and she's not really there.
Yeah.
And I hope they don't forget about those, and they still put out those kind of games, because otherwise, I don't know what would happen. I still enjoy the Mario Brothers.
Oh yeah, and I still play all the Lego games, and I can't think of any others that I have that are sports games. I guess are still.
Yeah, those are still until they start putting in the owners and the GMs comments in there. I think we'll be
Exactly.
okay.
Exactly.
But yeah,
So there's still hope for us yet, is what you're saying.
yes, there's still
All right.
hope.
All right, I'll cling to that then.
So you got anything else to close us out there before I shut us down?
Oh, I ordered my copy of Diablo 3 today, so
Did you?
I get it on Thursday. Yep, I used up all my renewals I could on the library site, so I figured, I'm playing enough of this game, I should at least give them some money for it. So I
Yeah.
went ahead and purchased it, and look forward to finishing the story on that one. And of course, that one's mature themed as well.
Yeah, and you know what? I might have to look into that. Is that thing still going for $60?
No, it was like $28 or something.
Really?
Yeah, on the Amazon.
Man. I might have to go online there and get me a little Diablo 3. Maybe we can get a little multiplayer in.
I'd like that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd be good with that. So
maybe we can record some gameplay and get that up on the website or something.
yeah, we could do that. Although I don't know how the hell we do it. Hold my phone up, maybe.
Well, I think you can save some of that shit. Well, I'll figure it out.
We don't have the fancy new Xbox Ones that'll just push a button and record it.
No, but I see people doing it all the time on YouTube. So, if a 10-year-old can figure it out, there's hope. Though I am the worst producer ever, so we'll have to see.
Well, and before we put in the closing stuff, we'll throw out there for anyone that's listening that Kip and I are looking at the possibility of doing or planning on doing a spin-off from Geek Vice here, where I guess we'll call it a spin-off or another podcast to this, covering the TV show. What did we come up with? Ascension,
starting in November.
So in November, look forward to seeing us sit down for, probably only be 20, 30 minutes, and talk about each episode. And of course, it's going to be filled with spoilers, so make sure you watch the episode before you come listen to us talk about it. But we're both of us are looking forward to that TV show, and so we thought it'd be good to do a little spin-off podcast and just talk about that TV show. Nothing but Ascension.
That's right, and we got to figure out a good name for that podcast too. So.
Yeah, we'll come. I'm gonna guess Ascension Spoilercast is probably not a good one.
No, that's kind of boring, even for us.
Yeah, especially for that worst producer ever.
Yeah, I think I could do better than that. Maybe not, but I think I can.
So, all right, guys, we'll go ahead and shut this down. You can check us out on our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. You can follow us on Twitter at geekvice, Google+, Facebook, all those things. You can follow us there. You can follow Kip on Twitter at Kip Killigan. You can follow Logtar at Logtar. And yes, I still don't have Twitter, so yes, I am still completely worthless. But thanks for everyone for listening. And if you have any comments on mature themed video games, if you have anything you want to tell us about our other topics, what you thought about Captain America 2, or how much you think I'm retarded for liking Dishonored, or that Kip needs to just go buy Destiny and not wait for Call of Duties, you can email us at geekvice@gmail.com.
I'll also take any suggestions on a podcast about Ascension. Give me a name.
Yeah, come up with some names. Maybe a theme song or something. Yeah, there we go. Bring it, guys. All right. We'll see you next week.
Alrighty. See ya.